You don't have to try to sound too humble. You've sold a shitload of books.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a podcast for creative people. I am your host, Christopher Tallon, a writer. I've got a new book coming out soon, but it's not about me today. It's about a different writer, Tylor Paige. Tylor writes snarky psycho vampires, troubled but beautiful goblin kings, and slashers so sexy, you'll be begging your partner to buy a mask. When she's not writing about women railing the villains, she's enjoying horror films, sewing, comic books, and performing with her local community theater. At the time of this podcast, Tylor has 11 full-length novels, including her most recent Slasher Pass, which has gone viral a couple times on TikTok. She's sold a buttload of copies of it, and I'm trying to leech off my friend's success. We talk about that kind of stuff. We talk about the creative process. We talk about the creative journey. We talk about marketing. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Tattoos. So, man, stick around for it. This was a fun one.
Tylor Paige.
Specific thing or a person who influenced you or a thing that you read where you're like, damn, I want to be a writer, or I am a writer.
No, I was always just kind of confident in my work that I was just going to do this. I would say I knew I wanted to be a writer when I was in like the 5th grade, though, because they had us ask for our careers, and I said I wanted to be a writer.
That's awesome.
But,
Did you
yeah.
get the, well, yeah, but that's not a real job back then, too?
Oh, yeah, no, I got in trouble because they sent it home, and I was raised by my grandmother, and she yelled at me, and she was like,
This
you
pie in
need
the
to be a
sky over
lawyer.
here.
Yeah, she was just like, I can't believe you would tell them that. You need to go and tell them you changed your mind. And I was like, I'm in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Like,
Just tell them you want to be an
no.
accountant. They'll be like, perfect.
Yeah, it was a little intense.
I pick on accountants a lot on the show. No offense to the accountants out there. You guys are cool. Love for the financial people. Anyway, so from there, you feel like you're really a writer. You start writing. Sometime around high school, you start to get the confidence where you're like, I kind of want to put myself out there. And then the first book you published was when you were how old?
I would say 27. Well, yeah, because it's been 6 years and I'm 33 now. So I was 27.
Okay. Yeah, that is fairly young to jump. Well, comparatively, I didn't publish a book until I was like in my late 30s. What were you doing at the time, professionally or academically or whatever, when you were writing that first book?
Yeah, I was a factory rat. I stayed there for like 11 years. I was just doing like plastics.
Uh-huh.
And it was a really intense job where we worked like 6-7 days,
Oh, dang.
all year round. It was rough. I would write my books like at night or on the weekends. Some days I'd call off, just not go in because I knew I wanted to do it.
So you were taking what limited cracks of time you had and just
Yeah.
writing books in there, huh? Or writing your first book.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you were a plotter? Is that like how you learned to do it? Or did you stumble through trying to be a pantser too?
I think my first like 2 books were pantsed. And then I realized that like I need to organize my time because it was so valuable.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't just sit there for hours and then write a chapter. I have to like know what's going on so I can go in and do it when I have that time.
I'm laughing because I'm a pantser and that's exactly how I do it.
Yeah, no,
There's
exactly.
a lot of
Like
just looking
think
around and going,
exactly. Well, that's my outline time. I do that a lot during my outline time. But yeah, being in the factories where like I worked at one factory where you literally got 2 days off a year.
Yeah.
And on the 3rd day you got written up.
Ooh.
So yeah. So I had to use every single inch of time wisely. And I still use it to today because it works really well for me.
Yeah. Take that, you stupid European countries with your 40 days
I
of
know.
guaranteed paid days off.
I wish, yeah. usually like plan my books about a year in advance. So I have a list right now of usually like the book title and like a quick like paragraph pitch or a few lines pitch.
Yeah.
And then I always outline my books. So sometime depending on if like I'll usually type them out, but if like the words just aren't coming, then I'll write them out.
Yeah.
Which helps. But I'll outline every single chapter, and there's usually like 70 to 80 chapters per book, depending on the length. And then after that, which that usually takes like a week or two, sometimes more, depending. But then once I have the outline for each book, for each chapter, it's usually like one or two paragraphs. Then I just go in and start writing because I don't have to like think about. I'm not a pantser.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a pantser. I have to have that outline, but then once it's outlined, I can write really fast.
Yeah.
And then I write it, and then it goes to I have one alpha reader now. She goes through it, and I see her notes, and then it goes to the editor.
Does your alpha reader give you like line edits, or do they kind of just give you like, this is the stuff that works, this is the stuff I don't understand, this is the stuff I want to see more of?
That's what I ask her to do is, yeah, just pick out stuff like that does work or doesn't. It's really just, if I had asked her to do line edits, she would.
Yeah.
But it really just depends on what you want from your alpha readers.
Yeah. Which
personally,
the most feedback I usually want to get to, like from the first person, is like, does it work? Does it feel pace-wise okay? Yeah. Exactly.
Like I tell her, or like I've had multiple alpha readers in the past, but I only have one now, and I just tell them like, I'm paying for an editor. You guys are doing this for free to be able to read the book, or like sometimes I'll give them little gifts and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't expect you to be doing like this hard labor, which would be edits.
Yeah.
You know.
So then you get your stuff back from your alpha readers, and then from there you just kind of do your own editing, revising, and then you send it off to your editor?
Yep. Depending on the deadline, if I have enough time, my editor would very much like me to read through it and like catch what I can.
Yeah.
And and I always see my alpha readers' notes too and stuff like that.
Kind of like how people say I knew somebody who they had a maid come to their house like once a month to like deep clean, and they're always like, my mom always freaks out and cleans the house really, really bad before the maid comes in to deep clean. It's like, that's kind of the same thing that writers do for their editors. They're like, I'm not going to have too many like thes, I'm going to try to clean it up a little.
Yeah, I do usually, as long as I have the time, I do really try to like read through it and give her something kind of respectable.
Yeah.
But she usually knows if it's not, she'll message me, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't have time.
Yeah. The first 7 chapters are really clean. The last 2 is like a rough draft, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, for real. Oh my gosh.
Well, you just got an agent, right?
Yes, I signed with my agent. Her name is Heather Roberts. Like maybe 3 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because the last time I went to the writing group with her, she's like, Tyler's got an agent now. I was like, I knew she would eventually. She's just keeps moving up. Gonna need a bigger team.
Yeah, I've been querying for like 6 months, and I was really starting to feel like it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
All my friends are getting them, and I'm like, okay, something's wrong with me. And then this one just kind of literally just fell into my lap. It's kind of crazy, but yeah.
Yeah.
So about 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Because querying is quite the soul-crushing journey sometimes.
It is. Like, mostly it's just the waiting for me. I don't mind a rejection. Like, to me, that's fine because I'm a big person, and if it wasn't for you, it's going to be for someone else.
Yeah.
So, like, that doesn't bother me. But I was getting a lot of being put into the maybe piles. And they don't ever go back to those maybe piles.
No.
So, like, I was never going to get a response. And I was just like, this is worse.
Yeah.
Just tell me no.
The most exciting thing that happened to me when I was trying to query, I didn't try to query my book that's coming out now, but the first one, I got somebody who said, you know what? This isn't for me, but you should try so-and-so. They might like it. And I was like, yes. And then I sent it to that person and they go, no, I'm not looking for anything like that right now. Sorry. Yeah,
It's always exciting though when people like recognize that someone else is gonna like it though, and that's exactly like it may not be for one person, but it's gonna be for someone else.
Yeah, and that's the thing with any creative person, but writers especially, man. Just keep getting out there, keep writing more stuff. If you're like, oh man, that book wasn't that good, write another one that's better. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, people, and I've honestly heard people say, you know, it's really fun for me to go back and read people who I like now's older stuff and see how they've developed and progressed. It's like, yeah, people aren't going to be mad at you.
I read my very first book, I think it was like last year or the year before, and I was just like astounded. I was like, I published this? Like, I thought this was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. I've only got 2 books yet, so I need a couple more before I can start talking shit about 1 or 2 of them.
Maybe you can find some old journals or something.
Oh, got it. I had the good sense to throw those away immediately. Did you? When did you start writing and like actually showing it to people?
Probably when I published.
Okay.
Like, well, no, like, I mean, like when I was in high school, I'd always like tell my friends, like, hey, I'm thinking one day I want to write a book, but it was never really serious because, you know, they tell you writing has no money, which it is very hard to get money as a
your
writer.
High school teachers. I always say that on this podcast all the time. My high school teachers were always like, maybe you should just try to be an accountant or something like that, and you could do something creative on the weekends. Like,
yep, always that. So I never really took it like, you know, showing school friends, I feel like doesn't count. But then I just, when I decided to when I decided to indie publish, an author, her name's Jennifer Probst. I had spoken to her. She had come to a conference, and she said she gave me the advice of the moment you know you're going to do something in publishing, start telling people. So like the moment I decided I was going to self-publish, I started on my pages, I started advertising it, and then I just did it, I guess.
Interesting. Okay. Tell me if I heard that wrong, but like the minute you have something to publish, tell people about it, or the minute you're like, I think I want to do something like this, tell people about it, like so that it holds you accountable to it.
Well, it holds you accountable, but it also gets people talking about it way ahead of time. Like Slasher Pass, the moment I had that cover, I started telling people about it.
Yeah.
I didn't even have words. I just had the cover and the premise. The book I'm advertising right now, I started advertising it in like September, October, and it's not coming out till April. Like even I just started writing it, like full-fledged writing it this week, but I've been telling people about it.
Yeah.
And because of that, like I do ARC reviewers.
Yeah.
I've got almost 900 ARC signups right now because I'm telling people about it.
That's so cool. Yeah, because for a long time, I took the advice, if you're working on something, shut the fuck up about it until it's ready to be shown to somebody. And so I, used to be like, oh yeah, I'm writing a book. Oh yeah, when's it going to be done? When's it going to be done? And after a while, I just kind of got sick of people saying, oh, when's it going to be done? I was like, oh, geez, that's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. And then after that, I was like, I'm just going to be quiet from now on.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 different ways to do things, but I've found this. I mean, she's told me this 6 years ago, and I've always remembered it, and it's proven successful for me.
I'm gonna go back to that way of thinking then, because I think the other way of thinking, the way that I had been doing it, is too fear-based. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was also, I was doing that with my first book, and people were like, oh, is it almost done? And I was like, oh man, I don't know. I keep telling people I think it'll be done in like a month or 2, and that was like 4 months ago.
Well, it is super scary to put yourself out there and like be vulnerable with people, especially like if you're having people read your book.
Yeah.
Because they usually want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. should get good at, but I think anybody who offers a creative service of any kind, your marketing, your things that you give people, like the swag and the extra things besides just the book itself, are, I think, very cool, very thoughtful, but like also very geniusly done with the do not disturb sign that you had.
Oh yeah, for anyone listening, I did a hotel horror book.
Yeah.
So that was my promo,
Yeah.
was the door. Yeah. I have a lot of fun with
That
those.
stuff is great. Do you sit around with like a group of people? Do you have somebody that handles that and brings you the ideas? Do you come up with it?
No, I do. So it started from, um, so I don't know if it's big in your genre at all, but in romance, PR boxes are like the big thing right now.
Mm.
But PR boxes are very expensive. They have like they have the book, and then they have like swag with the items,
Mhm.
and then I don't want to talk down to you. If I'm talking down to you, just tell me to stop.
No. And it's for the benefit of everyone listening too.
Okay. So like basically you ship it to these influencers and you hope and pray that they are interested in unboxing the stuff you just sent them and telling people about the book.
Yeah.
And I started doing these. Well, I wanted to do something with Slasher Pass, but when I started promoting it, I literally had 2 pennies to rub together and like nothing else.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to be able to do PR boxes, but I can send out paper mail to 50 people with 1 stamp.
Yeah.
And I got so much response. Almost like, I think I sent out 100, or no, 25 was the first paper PR mail that I sent out. And like 21 of them made videos for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just super cheap. And I got the exact same amount of engagement as I would if I had spent $100 on a box for, this is the math. Am I saying that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I had like I think I spent $100 total.
I mean, we're 2 writers talking math right here, so it's.
I know, I'm so bad at math.
It's like 2 monkeys throwing a football.
It's so bad. My budget was $100, so I could have spent it on 1 PR box, or I gave it to 25 different people.
Yeah.
And the 25 people came out and did videos for it.
Mm.
So I actually had a much bigger return on investment that way.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided, okay, well, I'm going to start doing paper PR mail for everything now.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to get creative with like, what other things can I do that are paper, because you can send it with a stamp.
Yeah.
So that's when I got like the door mailer or the door hanger.
And that's beautiful too, because it almost feels like you've received an object from this made up universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Readers love that. The next book after that, because it's set in an amusement park, I did bookmarks that look like amusement park tickets. Yeah, so I just have fun with it.
Yeah.
This next book that I'm doing, because I've got 500 PR letters in my office right now. So it's inspired by Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh.
He's a cannibal.
You got me already.
And I made menus, paper menus, like super fancy menus.
You sick woman.
I know. And I cannot wait for people to get them because they look really pretty. I put like lots of effort into them. They're cool looking.
Oh, that's amazing. Did you study up like marketing techniques? Have you asked other people? Are you kind of like taking a page off somebody else's book? Where does that side of promoting yourself, where do you get that?
No, the PR paper mail, I did not get that from anyone else. I just stumbled upon it because I was poor and looking for something looking for a way to do it myself.
Yeah.
But a lot of advice I do get like from random. Well, now that I've my career has gotten a little bit bigger, authors are more inclined to talk to me. Like the bigger authors are. They'll reach out to me and stuff. But when you're first starting out, it's kind of hard because and I'm finding this myself in that some of the lower authors, they don't want actual help. They just want you to do it for them. So it gets a little tiring having to answer questions all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that sorry to cut you off there, but that reminds me
no.
of a Steve Martin quote that I saw, I think, on an Instagram reel the other day. He said, "People ask me all the time, how do I get to the, to the highest level of something like you've done?" And he said, "I always tell them, be so good that nobody can ignore you." And they almost never want to hear that. They want to hear, well, first you got to get an agent, then you got to do this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. And I think that's why a lot of the higher tier authors, they don't want to talk and give advice because
Yeah.
they've, dealt with it for so long.
And not to be like a dick about it, but it does kind of get old too. And it happens when you sell books. People will come up to you and they go, "Oh, you're the author? I'm actually a writer. Well, I haven't written anything yet, but I was thinking about this. How did you do this? Where did you publish that? Who made your book cover?" And it's just like, man, I'm not trying to help you make your book. Like,
yeah,
if you like mine, that's awesome. If you write one, let me read it. But
exactly, those are ones on my bingo card. I've always wanted to be a writer. Could you help me write a full book? Could you write my book for me? Like,
can you show me how to write a book? I've had a couple of people ask me that. I'm like, I mean, I didn't know how to do it either, man. You just do it and figure it out until you have something that's kind of looks like a book.
Exactly.
When did writing start making you like a noticeable percentage of your income?
So Slasher Pass.
Okay.
It was Slasher Pass that hit.
My first was your ninth book? Your seventh book?
No. Slasher Pass was my 13th or 14th.
Your 13th or 14th?
Mm-hmm.
That's right, because that one came out like a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yes, it came out in September 2023.
Okay.
So 1 year ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Until then, I was literally only making like just enough to publish the next book.
Yeah.
I really wasn't making any sort of money. And then Slasher Pass came out, and that's when I was like, oh, okay. People are digging this.
Yeah.
And then it was about February when I was like, the first time I went viral was February.
Viral, like on TikTok, you mean? Or like where you just all of a sudden just saw this just fucking tornado of sales?
Oh, it was TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah. I went viral on TikTok like probably about 5 times now. I think I've got like total like 3 to 5 million views for my book.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever bumped into you in real life and gone, "Hey, aren't you the TikTok person?"
No, because I usually don't show my face anymore because like my face videos weren't being successful, but slides were. So I just do slides now, which is fine. But I do get it like just randomly. I do theater, like local theater.
Yes.
And it's so fun. But like I have one of my fellow actresses, she's a reader too.
Yeah.
And my last show was like 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm in full drag for my performance. And she walks backstage and she just stops short and she goes, "This is insane because I forget that you're Tylor Paige because when you're here, you're just Ty. But I'm performing with Tylor Paige." And she's like, "I'm allowed to watch you," because I was, I don't know if you've ever seen Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
No,
the character is a queer trans woman, and the song I was about to perform is just, it was a dirtier performance. And she says, "I'm about to go watch Tylor Paige go out and do like filth on stage," and she was just like mind blown. So that stuff is kind of cool.
Yeah. The closest thing I think I've had to that was somebody bought a copy of my book for their like middle school classroom. A kid read it and finished and was like, "Oh, this is a pretty good book. I know the guy that wrote that." And they're like, "No, you don't." And that made me happy. Just the idea that somebody was like, no, that was too good. You don't know that.
Right. That stuff is really cool though. I do have people like in my real life who I'm a big person. If you allow people to talk down to you, they will.
Mm.
So like a lot of the time when I was first starting my career, people would go like, "Oh, you're doing your little book thing or whatever."
Yeah.
But now that I've gotten more successful, they kind of take a step back and they're like, "Oh, wow. Like
Yeah.
you're the author of that." Like, which feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. I had I knew somebody who was like, "Hey man, I don't know if I can hang out with you anymore because you're a little bit like too publicly pro cannabis. So you're gonna have to like not hang out anymore." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then after I posted on Facebook that I was on TV, they were like, "Oh, that's awesome, dude." And I was like, "Shut up."
Yeah. Yeah, you really find out who your friends are as your career grows.
Yeah. Like I had to bug
It's
you to be on this
unfortunate.
podcast all the time because I was like, "Hey, be on my podcast." You're like, "Oh, you want me now because I'm famous?" I was like, "Yes."
I know. I do like to give people shit too. I wouldn't have said that if like I really thought that though.
Yeah,
I
no,
would
we
have just
know
ignored
we know
you.
each other. We know each other.
Yeah, I would have just ignored you.
No, I told Albie you said that, and she was like, like that little laugh. Love you, Albie.
I
I'm
love
not trying to make
Albie.
fun of your laugh, and I can't do it very good either. But it's really cute because it's kind of like it's like a little hee hee with a little.
Yeah, no, I can hear it in my head. You did it pretty good. Albie's great.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, she gives me a lot of updates on what's going on with you. She's a big fan besides being a friend. She's
Yeah,
cool.
Albie.
Cool.
She's
cool
wonderful. I love her to death.
Yeah. She was the one I would say who probably more than anybody else pulled me more towards that line of being like, I mean, you got to at least think about the market, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm an artist. I do what I want. And she's like, yeah, but like, okay, fine. Let me go look at some covers of books that I kind of like and bring that to my cover artist and be like, these.
Yeah.
And he's
I
still
really
did his
do
own
think
original
you can
thing,
do a
but
blend.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I always do when I'm looking for something. I'll see what my comps are doing, and then I always say, figure out what they're doing, but then do it, make it your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And my artist, Kirk Ross, shout out to Kirk Ross, the Talk in the Attic podcast. Check it out. He's a really good artist, and he's very good at being like, what do you want in this? And then making sure that it's in there, but it's like very much his art.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about working with an artist? How did you find your cover artists? What is your process like? How many back and forths do you give on a cover?
So my cover artist, she kind of fell into my lap. I had one originally, and she passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't really know her. Like we weren't like friends. We were just like business, but it's still sad. But she passed away,
Yeah.
and she left a bunch of us with work undone. And Victoria is the woman I work with now. She volunteered her time and energy to take on some of those clients to help them out of the bind.
Oh.
And she took on me. And after that, I just like said, hey, I would like to continue working with you. And she's been my cover artist ever since. And because we have such like a good relationship, she allows me to make like unlimited changes for no upcharge. That is not normal.
Yeah.
I will never say like, don't go into an artist and expect that. Most of them like do 2 or 3 changes and then start charging you.
Yeah.
But
which
she
is
allows
good to
me
know
to go back
for anybody who's getting into that kind of a contract thing with somebody. Make sure you know how many times you can ask for redos, because that is a thing, and some people will give you 2, some people will give you 7. You just have to negotiate.
Yeah. And it gets pricey if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she just lets me go back and forth until I'm happy. Um, and I really do think my covers reflect that
Mm,
like, so, I mean, some of my older covers, they can use some work, but like, I'm very proud of the covers I have now.
yeah,
They're good.
they
I
are
didn't do
good.
much except for tell her and know what to do, but
They are good because talking about Albie again, when Slasher Pass, when you did the reveal for that, she was like, "Did you see the cover? It's so good."
yeah, no, they're really good. Those are very much to market covers too. And I think Albie uses Victoria for some stuff. I don't know if she uses for her for all of the stuff, but I do think
Oh
she uses her for some of her books.
no, I remember. I think she did the cover for the Fables that she did,
Oh, okay.
and it was a really pretty cover too. It really, really, really nice cover. I saw it and I was like, "Damn, that's a nice cover."
Yeah, no, Victoria is wonderful. I love her. She does really good work, and I always try to talk her up. She's good.
Maybe it's a little different with the with the kind of books that you write. But have you ever had anybody in real life say, "Hey, was that character me?"
Yes, actually, and it was really gross. Well, I don't typically talk too much about my family, but my read my book, but I guess someone had told about it.
Yeah.
It was like, "Oh, I do that," and I was like, "Mm, I don't think you do, but I did it. That was not." I was just like, "No, what are you doing right now?"
Yeah. I've had two people ask me, "Hey, was that me?" I think the same character actually. "Hey, was that me in the book Switchers?" And I was like, "No, dude. That was a personality type. Sorry."
Exactly, yeah. I think people get like really invested in your writing when they know you and they just like I call it my bingo card
Mm,
of things that you're as a writer you're gonna hear pretty regularly. And that's one of them. Do you put real people in your books?
yeah.
Will you write a book about me? Stuff like it's just a bingo card of stuff.
Yeah. Although this one could be tricky legally. Somebody said, "Hey, will you put a character with my name in the book?" And I went, "Sure." So there's a very small, almost cameo character that I was like, I kind of needed somebody to fill this role anyway. I'll give him your name, but it's not that person. But they asked me if they could, if I could have a character named specifically, and I said, "Yeah, sure."
I think I've done. I'm no, I'm pretty sure I've done that before. Like I've had readers, um, like who have turned into like actual friends.
Mm,
And like again, if like so like I write horror romance. Specifically the books I wrote this year were all slashers,
yeah.
and I needed someone to quickly die.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I'm gonna put her name in this, and she is going to love it.
Yeah.
And it's just like a quick one sentence. They died, and she did. She freaking loved it. Like
uh,
I think it's just kind of knowing your audience. Like same with like brands.
can you kill
Don't
me
go
in your next
put a
book?
yeah, like it just depends on if you know they're gonna be okay with it. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's got their kinks, right?
yeah.
Some people are like,
Oh,
"Dude, that was so hot watching me get choked out in that one scene."
I know. People my readers are something else though. They're wild sometimes.
Yeah. The self-proclaimed horror babies.
Yes. Yes, they love it. And I got stickers for them. They love them and
Hmm.
yeah.
I
My
gotta,
my readers are very fun. So my very first tattoo, you can't see it because I'm not gonna get up, is a giant My Chemical. It's a giant My Chemical Romance tattoo. Not my proudest moment. It doesn't say My Chemical Romance. Thank God that I didn't like just put their name on my body. But like, it's it's like from the Black Parade album. I don't know if you're familiar with the album cover.
I'm sure I've seen it.
Yeah, but so it's not. It's I would say it's one of my more cringy things, but it's I mean it's a good tattoo, but Like,
Well, hey,
still, I have a My Chemical Romance tattoo.
if you're gonna have tattoos, you got to have at least one that you're like, meh. It's a rule.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to talk about that one.
Yeah. My first tattoo is totally meh. My second tattoo was even more meh. I had it covered. So, and the first one, I actually made it worse. Hold on, I just want to show you. I basically did that thing like when you do a true or false and you can't tell if it's a T or an F, so you just keep scribbling harder.
Oh, no. Did you do it yourself?
No.
Oh.
But I got a really bad tattoo from somebody who was learning how to do it, and just this center one. Minus.
What is that?
It's like
a bird?
It's like a tribal peace sign.
Oh.
And then I had him add all this other stuff onto it years later, thinking like, well,
oh my
if I have one bad tattoo, maybe if I just add some other bad tattoos, that'll make it better.
Oh no! Oh, have you seen my?
This arm looks great. This arm looks not so great.
Well, I mean, have I shown you guys my arms? Because you haven't seen me in person in a while.
No, not since.
No.
Shit, it might have been at least a year.
Yeah. So when Slasher Pass went big, I always said the first book that made me $5,000 and I would get a tattoo for, which was of course Slasher Pass. So I went through and got.
Oh, dude.
Geez. Yeah, I'm not
the
good at
color on
angles.
that is nice too.
Yeah, I got a pinup guy on both arms. I got 2. Oh, sorry, I'm not really good at angles. There we go.
Yeah, no, I know. I would do the same thing when I was setting up my computer here. I was like turning it the wrong way, be like, oh, nope, other way to get that.
Yeah, trying to figure it out. But I would say I think they're cringy for other people. When they see my tattoos, they're like, oh my God, you really just went and did that? And yes, I did.
Hell yeah. I've had a blast talking to you. I think anybody listening should be happy with all of this information, and probably gets to know you a little bit too. So
Yeah. I mean, if you have any, questions or anything, you could always reach out. Or, I mean, last call, I guess. I don't know. Is there anything you specifically want to know? I don't know.
How can I sell as many books as you sell?
Yeah, good. Not good luck. Sorry, I went viral on TikTok. I don't know how I did it. As soon as it came out of my mouth, that wasn't how it was intended.
Yeah.
Good luck. I'm not that vain.
Oh no, I get it. I've yet to go even semi-viral.
Yeah, it's very hard. But it's also a lot of social media and grinding. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, and having to be confident on it too. Like, you have to own it because there's tons of people who are going to, again, if you give them permission to talk down at you and make fun of you, they will.
Yeah.
So just stop giving them that permission.
Yeah.
Make them treat you seriously, and they will have no choice.
The confidence is a big one too. You don't want to go out there like, I mean, my book's not the worst book you're going to read this year.
Yeah, no, exactly. Confidence is another big one too. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm working with that with Albie too. I get at her sometimes. Come on, stand up. Tell us about your book.
I gotta have her on the podcast too. I don't know why I haven't already. I think maybe since we've been hanging out as much as we have with like book shows and writing groups, I just feel like, oh, it's Albie. But like, of course, I should have Albie on the show.
You should. She's such a plethora of information too.
Yeah,
I can't say enough good things about her. She's great.
Yeah. Likewise, her about you. Many times over, I've heard her talking about you and celebrating how well you've done.
Yeah, and that's like how you know the true level of friendship too, is like, especially when you become successful, you really find out who your friends are.
Yeah.
Or who want something from you and who are genuinely just there to root for you. And Albie
I'm not even successful yet, and
wonderful.
I'm starting to notice that.
Yeah, like it you can tell. It's unfortunate, but yeah, and Albie's just such a genuine friend. I will always support her.
Yeah, she's dope.
So,
All right, maybe we should title this one Ty and Tallon Love LB.
I know. Yeah.
All
Just a
right,
little
well,
shout out to her.
I'm gonna go out and violently erase every mention of her from this episode. Thank you so much, though, Ty, or as you're professionally known, Tylor Paige. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, for putting all your stuff out into the world, and for being a fun presence on social media, and for just being you, man. All right. Well, we could talk for hours, but I gotta get going, and I don't want to hold you up any longer. So.
Yeah, sorry. I will if you let me. So.
And I will if you let me too. Especially I've got an episode of this podcast. I had somebody who was like a artistic hero of mine on, and I kept that man on the podcast for like 3.5 hours.
Oh no! Yeah.
He just drank wine the whole time. He was fine.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Peter Terrace, legendary surf photographer. So, yeah. But, okay, I'm going to say goodbye for real, not do like my dad does and keep coming around back to the conversation.
The Midwest goodbye. All right, goodbye. Thank you for having me. I'll talk to you later.
Yep. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, that was Tylor Paige. Thank you so much for coming on. Everybody go to tylorpaige.com. Check her out on social media. All that stuff's in the show notes. Thank you for checking in. Check me out. Tallon writes on all social media. All that's in the show notes. And I'll see you next time.